everyone, and welcome back to J Music Talks. Today I wanted to quickly touch on a few of the ways that I stay organized as a private lesson teacher. Now, I do deal mostly with children around the age of 10 up to 16, and then I do have some older clients as well, but mainly I work with children, so it tends to be very high energy, and I don't have a lot of time for recording notes during lessons. So that really limits my options when it comes to keeping organized, keeping track of things, because a lot of times things just get thrown around and it becomes a little bit of chaos. So the main way that I do stay organized is by using a lesson notebook. Now this is just a generic one. I will show you the one that I'm currently using. It is almost run out, so I've got this one. And I just like one that when you open it, you can flip it over and it lies flat, so that when I'm writing notes, it's completely flat, it's not closing on me, so I can write them with one hand. Now, as a saxophone player, as a clarinet player, you know sometimes you have to keep your instruments right around you, sometimes you have your neck strap, sometimes your horn is still attached to you, so I actually find just having a notebook that lies flat on the table to record all my notes is the easiest way. I make sure to write down the date, what the student's name is, what they're working on, and then what I want them to work on for next week, so that I know when I go back in to keep them accountable for what I actually assigned versus what could be marked in their book, because if they forgot their book that day or if the marker got moved from the page, you're going to be completely at a loss unless you have written it down or have an amazing memory, which I do not. Currently I have 52 students and I cannot remember absolutely everything everyone is working on each week. So for me, a physical hard copy notebook that I keep in my studio is what I mainly use to write my notes that are only used in lesson. These are the ones that I do not bring home. These are just the ones that stay there. What I do bring home, I use my phone for that. So I take any notes that are in my notebook of things I need to photocopy, any scheduled changes when people are going to be away, anyone that I have to email about makeup lessons, payment, if they want some recommendations for a new instrument. I write those all down in a note on my phone, and then I take it home to my home computer. Now I do have a desktop computer at home. I use iCal for my scheduling because it's worked well for me for years and I don't see any point in changing it, and it links directly up to my iPod. Now, as a teacher, I do prefer using an iPod Touch, especially because you can add apps on here, like a tuner. This one's an easy to read tuner for kids because it tells them which direction to tune their instrument, and a metronome. Now, the metronome apps on here are not as good as the one on my phone, but it still works. So on here I can have all of their repertoire, so if they're playing out of an RCM book, if they're playing out of a pop song book, I can have all the music on my iPod Touch ready to plug into my CD player, or I can use it as a tuner, I can use it as a metronome, I can look at my iCal schedule in it, and if I need to I can record books or I can film them to show them if they're doing something that's physically strange while they're playing. So if their pinkies are up, which I tend to call tea time, or if they're kind of swaying strangely while they're playing, I like to show them that on film, which I delete at the end of the lesson, just to keep track of, their physical actions as well when they're playing, so that they're presenting a beautiful finished product. And now let's take a look at what my studio setup looks like. Hopefully it's not too noisy, as there are some other teachers already teaching, but this is my kind of general setup in my studio. So I have my notebook written open for taking notes, I have my phone and my iPod open. I do not really answer my phone during lessons, but I do use it for the tuner, metronome in case the iPod isn't handy, and checking email in case some parent sent me an email saying they're going to be late, all that stuff. So that's there as well. I have water, I have coffee, I have backup water that I mostly use for cleaning, some Sтерosol. I've got a ticking metronome. I'm not sure exactly what you call these. A standard metronome maybe? Hand sanitizer and Kleenex because it is cold and flu season. Isn't that wonderful? And then I also have my whiteboard. This is another way I keep organized, is I write all my notes on there. So right now, please let me know if you're going away on spring break, and I am not here March 3rd. Kind of just standard things, and then I can just recite them to whoever comes in. I do want to put something on this board. I'm not sure what yet. Maybe upcoming concerts, upcoming events, maybe the recital. I'm not sure yet. We will see. I might make a fun border or something for it as well, because it looks kind of boring right now. And then down here, I actually have a spare notebook, because this one right here will be pretty much finished by Saturday. It's on its last few pages, so I have a new notebook right here. I have my Trevor Y Omnibus, obviously, very important. And then organization wise, I have some stickers for when they do really well on any kind of theory homework that I give them. I have some tabs right here. Those I put on the page that we are working on for the current week. I have a little set of screwdrivers, and then I have all the books that I like to reference. I only keep a small supply here, as this door does not lock to the studio and any teacher can come in and take them, as well as any student, so I only keep the bare minimum books here. I always keep one that has a fingering chart, one scale book, one kind of fun piece book, and then some duet books to work with. And I kind of bring in sight reading as needed, if I want to bring in fun pieces. Last week we worked on Believer from Imagine Dragons. The week before that we did Havana, so I always bring in something a little extra, but this is pretty much my setup. I do have a calendar on the wall right here. I'm not going to show any higher than that because it does have the logo on it that I do not want to show you, just for privacy reasons. But this is my setup when I am actually teaching. Now I'm just going to show you what was inside my little file box over here. So I always keep a set of manuscript paper, blank paper, some stickers, some post-it notes, and then the little tabs that I use to mark the pages so I know what everyone's working on and we can easily just flip to it. I have some sandpaper there for when I show kids how to adjust their reads. I find that sandpaper works best just because they can easily access it and there's very little learning curve to it. It's very simple to do. And then I also have some of my gear guides and cleaning paperwork, kind of the first day paperwork for someone that's just starting. And then I have color-coded little folders for putting all my photocopies in, and I have them for every day that I am teaching. And these are all kind of just tucked away in there with my books. Thank you for watching my video on how I keep organized as a private lesson instructor. I hope some of these things were helpful if you're wondering how to start recording what your students do in lessons, how to start scheduling. If you would like me to do any further videos on how I input things into a schedule, how I keep track of makeup lessons, and how I do the records in my book, please leave a comment down below and I will be happy to respond or create a video response. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you soon.